Good afternoon, one and all. This has been a wonderful day on National Toy Innovation Meet since the morning. When we inaugurated this meet, it has been quite enriching, encouraging, and all of us have learned a lot of things from the conversation with industry experts, academic leaders, policymakers, and all of you. I would like to welcome our distinguished startups and speakers in this panel. I would like to welcome Anju Sharma Madam, Principal Secretary, Higher and Technical Education, Government of Gujarat, and Chairperson IHUB, to be with us whole day and curating the conversation. We have Anil Agrawal ji, Joint Secretary, DPIIT, Government of India, who is inspiring the entire Startup India movement at DPIIT. It is always insightful and pleasure to have you, sir. With your support only, we could get this thing happen at this scale and depth. In fact, the entire DPIIT team and West India and Startup India has been kind enough to help us curate the best startups to join today. I would also like to welcome Mr. M. Nagarajan, Commissioner of Higher Education, Government of Gujarat, and Honorary Executive Director of IHUB, who is with us throughout the day. We have 6 amazing startups today. We have Tushar Amin from SmartVT. He is doing outstanding work. He will definitely explain what he's doing and how he thinks startup ecosystem is going to evolve in toy industry, his experience. We have Mr. Deepak Agrawal from Parul Toys Private Limited. Deepak is doing also a wonderful job. We have Meeta Sharma from Sumi Toys. Meeta, welcome. Great to have you today. We have Inu Nivatia from Juende. Wonderful job, Inu, you have done, and your stories and insights will be really helpful for all the innovators and entrepreneurs. Today we have innovators and startup listening from more than 10 startup ecosystem limited. Manish ji, welcome to this session. We have also Mr. Sandeep Sharma, Be Creative. Sandeep ji, your insights will be really helpful, and definitely your experiences. All of you are welcome to this special session. The theme of this session is role of startups for India's leadership in toy market. All of us are talking about how time in the toy market, in the global market perspective. But looking at success stories of all of you, we are confident that we are going to pivot those figures very soon. With leadership like Anil Agrawal ji, Anju Madam, and all, we'll have certainly going to pivot those figures and get outstanding success in days to come. And all of your stories are also going to be inspiring. So I'll request, while you will be talking, a little bit touch upon the stories and efforts that each of you are doing. May I request now Principal Secretary Anju Sharma Madam, Higher and Technical Education Department, Government of Gujarat, to deliver her address.
Thank you, Hiranmay. So I welcome you all to this panel on startups. As you all know, at IHUB, we are all working to provide a end-to-end support to the startup ecosystem in Gujarat. And we have been working in all areas, starting from pre-incubation to incubation, to various flagship programs to create the pipeline through the institutions, and also take up things like capacity building, IPR, and in also things like incubation. So a lot of capacity building of our institutions is being taken up here. And IHUB has been able to connect to both national and international community in a big way in the last 1 year. Now we are coming up with a state-of-the-art space in the center of the city. That will be about 1.5 lakh square feet space, 6 floors. So that will have a lot of facilities for all kind of startups and mentor garages, and basically all the stakeholders will be accommodated there. And we have hostels also nearby the same campus. So where every facility can be available to the startups to work, to create, to think, to intermix, and to learn from each other and to get whatever support we can from each other. So as a part of the flagship programs, our one flagship program is the Mind to Market program. In the Mind to Market program, we are collaborating with the industry and throwing up industrial challenges before the innovators so that they can come up with their ideas, which can be picked up by the industry for collaboration and further scaling up. And in that, we have launched an FMCG challenge, a defense challenge, energy challenge, and the toy challenge was launched about 3 weeks back. We have launched a few problem statements along with the Toy Industry Manufacturing Association, and we are putting up more challenges on that. And that only, since you all know that toy is now one of the major agendas that Honorable Prime Minister has talked about and has taken up for building up Atmanirbhar Bharat and tapping the huge toy market of the world and a lot of domestic market, because unfortunately our domestic market has been captured 80% by the international suppliers, which appears like a little ununderstandable. And there is a lot of potential there. There is no reason why we buy our own products from outsiders, and our own Ganeshas, our own teddy bears and everything, the pandas and all that concept we are taking from outside. Even the Ganesha idols are coming from outside. So that disturbs us and that disturbs everybody. And there's a huge potential there which we would like to tap. And even the gaming market. Now, games is not like that, it is played only by children. Virtual gaming is there for even 60-year-olds. They play virtual games now. And there's a huge market for virtual games. But if you see, most of the games are dominated by international themes, by international characters, but a lot of Indian mind goes into it. But then it gets packaged internationally and comes to us as an exported product, which is very expensive. Games get launched first in America and then they come here. When those guys have upgraded to next version, it comes here. So we have a lot to do in the toys market and the games market. And we have been working with the Startup India, and DPIIT has been very supportive to us in organizing this National Toy Innovation Meet. Before this startup panel, we had an inaugural panel, we had an industry panel, academia panel with the design institutions. So basically what we are looking at, that if the startups work together to, of course, they have their own markets. So all these startups, many of the startups have their own niche areas and have their own products, which they are selling into a large number of markets. But still there is a lot that we can do. And what we would like, they can, for that we have brought these startups, brought you all here. And I would like you all to deliberate on how you can collaborate and support in this area, and what role iHub can play into that. That is the idea behind the entire discussion. And now I would ask the panelists to take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam, for putting the context in place. To start with, may I request Tushar Amin, who is the Chief Strategy, Marketing, Creative Officer, and also Chief Product Officer of Smartivity, to share his thoughts on how startups will play a role in India's leadership in toy market. May I now request Mr. Deepak Agrawal from Parul Toys. Deepak, could you like to say the story, please?
Good evening to everyone. Mr. JS, DPIIT, Mr. Agrawal, I wanted to talk to you for a very long time. Today I got this opportunity to, actually I asked your mobile number and other things to many people because I have a lot of things to talk to you. Number one, as per the agenda, today's agenda, role of a startup. Before I go to role of a startup, this is especially for you. Actually, what is the startup? A startup, what we understand or the Indian government understand is it is a company based on technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, or internet sort of a thing. So a startup is a mix of goods and services both. Indian government thinks that it is only services, not goods. So manufacturing of toys or any other thing, it doesn't come under the scope of a startup. So using the word startup for this panel itself is totally wrong. Now,
थैंक यू। सो दीपक जी, हमारा सीधा मुद्दा ये है, आप जैसे टॉय सेक्टर की जो इनोवेटर हैं, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, क्या रोल रहेगा भारत को अगर टॉय सेगमेंट में ग्लोबल मार्केट में लीडर बनाना है, तो आपकी तजुर्बा के हिसाब से क्या एक्सपीरियंस है, क्या होना चाहिए और क्या
पहला एजेंडा था रोल ऑफ स्टार्टअप फॉर इंडियाज लीडरशिप इन द टॉय मार्केट। स्टार्टअप वेल्थ क्रिएशन, जॉब क्रिएशन, हर काम के लिए स्टार्टअप जरूरी है, जीडीपी में ग्रोथ के लिए, और ये 100% हम कर सकते हैं, इसमें कोई भी तकलीफ नहीं है। एक इसका और फायदा होता है, ये डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन होती है वेल्थ की और जॉब की, माइग्रेशंस, वर्कर्स की माइग्रेशन कम होती है, उनको जॉब वहां मिलती है। दूसरी चीज क्या है, हाउ कैन a startup compete with established brands globally? Here, this is a very big topic and this is a very, very burning thing, that how we can compete with the big brands. Now, if we follow certain, and I mean, I have followed, if we follow certain protocols, certain strategies, we need not to worry. Actually, when we compare ourselves with the global brands, we go on a defensive side. Now, the first thing is, let us not incubation stage, let us not sell what idea we have or what product we have. We should sell, do the market research and sell only what sells. Now, number thing is, the pricing has to be as per the per capita income of the consumer. If a consumer has 100 rupees in the market and we give them 1000 rupees product, obviously it will not sell. So it has to be very, very rational. Number two, what mistakes most of the startups they do is spending too much money on the capex. When a startup starts, the capex has to be bare minimum, and the opex, if it is a little higher also, more than normal, it's okay still, because it de-risks the complete model. Once the startup is established, then the capex has to be more and opex has to be less. Then what happens is it gives an edge on the pricing. Then we are competitive in the market. This is the point number 2, what I followed and I succeeded. In my 3 months of my company, I am producing now 10 containers of 1040 HiQ of toys. And now the discussions are going on. In 3 months, I have got 1 container load of orders from Nepal also. Other countries, my website is visible in 43 countries. Now, when we are a startup, we have to be really fast. I have seen in developed countries, I travel all over the world, Israel, Germany, China, almost all the countries. What they do is, always due to the disruptive forces or uncertainty in the market, we have to be fast. So how we can be fast? The amortization of our equipments, machinery, molds, this has to be amortized. Once the equipments, the capital investment is amortized, we are completely de-risked. Absolutely no issues. So we should be fast in designing, production, delivery, collection, and amortization of the capex. This is very important, this discipline we are following. Now, we should not be scared psychologically or otherwise also of any big brand. Just because they are big brand, they are multinational companies, they are present in many companies, they spend hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars in R&D or on marketing. It hardly matters. As one day I was listening to Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat also, what he was telling is the big brand also, once upon a time, it was a small brand, which is very, very, in plain words, very true. We can always grow. I am very, very confident the government is going in a very, very right direction. The intentions, everything is very clear. Now, I am not clear certain areas where is the part of execution. Government is very clear. It is possible. I can tell 100% that China or any other country cannot stand before us. We will be export leaders also based on my personal calculation. The execution part, certain corrections are required. See, to enter into the market or anywhere, to enter or come out, disruptive forces are very important. So by putting tariff on the imports, putting non-tariff barriers, tariff barriers, government has unleashed these disruptive forces. They have restricted. But as per the WTO norms, this cannot go. It is not practical and it cannot go for a long time. So it always will have a sunset date. Within this sunset date, we should get us ourselves stabilized. So now, for the startup, what problem is like government, what they have to do is the disruptive forces they have unleashed. Now, if further we are not able to penetrate, what we can do is for deeper penetration. Once I was talking to Amazon boss, he was telling no, making no profit is okay, but making losses is not okay. Because even if you lose one drop of a blood every day, one day you will become anemic and you will die. So even if we have a long vision that after 5 years we will make profit, and during these 5 years we will not make profit, but we will not make losses also, it's okay for us. Now even this is not sufficient, especially in Gujarat market. I tried, maybe I have another one company also. In 2 years before I tried in the Gujarat market, it was a very tough market to enter. I made a decision that I will make losses, controlled losses with a sunset date. So this is the final thing which no one will be able to stop you. I mean, you can penetrate any of the market with the controlled losses, sunset with the sunset date. See, again, I come back to Amazon. Amazon boss, when I met him, he was telling that first you should make the field empty. You should go. See, if you want to invest today and you want to make money today, there will be a lot of competitors. You keep increasing the period, and once you see 5 years period, there will not be any competitors. So instead of seeing everyday balance sheet, we need to see 5 years balance sheet or 3 years balance sheet where we will be. Definitely, we will be in the profit side. Also, why people are, always afraid of China, I don't understand. The minimum wages in China is about 40,000 rupees per day in Indian currency. And our workers, we are getting workers for 10,000 rupees per day, per month. So even if our workers are inefficient, up to double Chinese workers are double efficient, then also we are spending 20,000 rupees. Polypropylene prices are same, electronic parts are same, everything is same. What difference is making is, number one, it's a 30,000 rupees wages difference. Second thing is ocean freight and customs duty. Once customs duty is increased, the gap becomes very wide. So we will succeed. There is absolutely no problem. No doubt about it. Now, third thing is how the global trend towards personalization of driving innovation and boosting demand for customs-made product drive innovation in the toy startups. When Prime Minister is traveling to all over the world, and in every Mann Ki Baat, he is telling that quality. I read, I smell what Prime Minister wants to say is, because the Quad is going to be formed, Australia, Japan, US, but there is no alternative. These markets are going to be opened for us, but they cannot buy. They have certain regulations. Until unless we make quality goods, we will not be able to export. Prime Minister is keep emphasizing that make quality goods. Now, here, one important thing is like what happened in US 10 years before, what happened in China today, what is happening, it is going to happen. What happened in China 5 years ago, now it is going to happen here. Days gone when the boys were looking for some Mickey Mouse or girls were for some Minnie Mouse. And what we need is high value, not a small value, some 5 rupees or 10 rupees toy. What we are looking for is a high value artificial intelligence with a lot of lasers, lights, music, and it must have those sort of a toys, which is popular among these things. I could see in the social media certain advertisements. I don't want to name. They say start coding at as early as 3 years. When I talk to parents, they say that they think that if they get their child admitted there in coding, once he is young, he will become the CEO of Microsoft or Google. Similarly, certain portals are there who select your children and they take them to NASA for a visit. Just by going NASA, the parents think that their children will be an astronaut or sky scientist or whatever it is. See, the mentality has changed. No more boring plastic or metal toys. We need value-added modern toys which the Western countries accept. Once it is accepted in Western country, it is very easy to sell here also. Indians per capita income has increased drastically. No more 5 rupees toys or 10 rupees toys. And why a toy? Once I was traveling from Hong Kong, in the flight there was a fun school boss was sitting. So I was talking to him in all the flight. I said that why, how to price a toy? So he was telling me that toy is priced as per the play value. What is the play value? How you determine? So play value is like how much time it entertains, what development, mental or physical development it brings into a child. Based on that, the prices are fixed, not on the base of the raw material and other things. So we have to really go for the value added with the better play value with artificial intelligence, those toys, if we want to penetrate the export market and have a substantial revenue on that.
Deepakji, in the paucity of time, we'll come back to you in the question round.
Okay,
so
okay.
if you can quickly Thank you, Deepakji. I think you made 5 interesting points how we need to look after this toy ecosystem. All are brilliant points. And Anil Agarwalji, Anju Madam, all are there. Some are policy issues, some are technology issues. And you rightly mentioned no need of China factor. You can make it happen.
Absolutely no need.
So now we're proud of your work. May I now move on to Tushar Aminji. Tusharji, would you like to share your story? What is the learning? How we make this toy market bigger?
Hi everyone. Redmai, Asha ma'am, Anju ma'am, Anil ji, and everyone else on the panel. Thank you so much for inviting us here. I represent Smartivity. We are India's largest and one of the globe's best STEAM educational toy makers. So what we build is construction toys that introduce children to basic fundamental concepts in science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. We started in 2015, and today, as of today, we are present in 24 of the most discerning toy markets across the world, and our presence is growing, particularly in countries like US, Canada, Europe, Australia, and we are the only toy brand actually exporting toys to China. So, as Deepakji was saying, there is no need to kind of be restricted in your vision about where your products can go today. This is not because of any nationalism or about because of any other fear, but because the world is a market today, and thanks to the policies and the demand from various circles for really good quality toys, if you have something innovative, you don't need to be apprehensive or be scared of thinking of a global business. For us, as most of us would agree that startups are also kind of upstarts. The very reason we are startups is because we tend to break rules, and it's not because we are rebels, but most of the times we are really dumb. We don't know the rules, because of which we start dreaming big, and then since we are dreaming and pursuing it, we end up achieving that. So that's how at Smartivity we typically have grown so big. For us, the initial introduction to the global market was thanks to another initiative that similarly promotes toy industries called Kids India, an exhibition that is held in India, where one of the guest speakers at the event was really curious about our products, and he had not seen such products anywhere in the world, and that's the reason why he kind of invited us to join him in Hong Kong, and that's where we got to meet buyers from over 100 countries, of which we were able to convert around 7 countries that year. That is 2016 is when this happened. And since then, we have kind of gained in confidence. One thing that I can tell you about the startup ecosystem here, whether it is Inno or Mita or anyone I heard in the previous panels, there is no dearth of innovation in the country. The reason we innovate is because there is, for the past 2 decades, there has been no significant innovation in the toy industry itself. Whatever toys were being bought and sold were usually something that was a rehash of an existing concept with a new graphic interface. And with the over the past 3 or 4 years, this is what has changed because uh, typically a startup also kind of implies, like Deepakji was saying, a tech startup. Uh, Very few people are stupid enough to take up a manufacturing idea to a startup level. We are a few of them, and that's something that kind of keeps, that's the gate entry barrier. But as we have been succeeding, each one of us, we have kind of led others to believe that this can be done. And that is the reason why I think this initiative, Anju ma'am, Anjuman ma'am, Anilji, we are confident that this will serve as an inspiration for the others as well. What typically happens is that because manufacturing is such a close-gated activity, people are scared to enter it. But once we entered it and we started creating our designs, and then we usually present our designs at Nuremberg and New York Toy Fairs. That's where European and American buyers come and select the toys that they need to order for their Christmas and Easter uh, seasons. We realized that each one of us who came to our stall was telling us that they have not seen anything like this anywhere in that 12 square kilometer exhibition ground. There are 12 halls in that exhibition. Each one is as big as a football field, and they haven't seen a single person making similar toys. And this is not, I'm sure this is not the story of just Smartivity. There are quite a few innovative toy companies that are working out of India. So on the innovation front, I really believe that we have all the capabilities, all the skills, and all the vision to bring India to the world. There are certain issues that we face. One of the biggest issue that we face, as we said, is fundraising. When it comes to manufacturing, no one wants to invest money in a manufacturing business. All the VCs are interested in 100x or 1000x returns. There is no manufacturing business that can give you that kind of return. So for us, the biggest wall that we face is, तुम तो 4 गुना बढ़ोगे, 6 गुना बढ़ोगे. They don't realize that creating even a 2 crore brand in today's time and age is a really big achievement. And if someone is doing something worth 40 crores and 60 crores, that must be something successful. But because they are so bogged down by their own idea of, I just call it topi pahnawing the next investor, they are looking at unreasonable returns. And on this front, there is no help from the government either. So the good thing is we are forced to innovate. The good thing is we are forced to approach people who really believe in us. But the bad thing is that most of the times every 6 months we are running after fundraise rather than innovating. So that is one big issue. The second big issue that we face usually, and where we really need to kind of pull up our socks, is logistics. So we receive orders from around 24 countries. When we send our products from India to US, from India to the European countries, from India to Australia, we have to tell the buyer that our lead time for manufacturing and delivery is around 3 months. So we manufacture for 45 days, then from our factory to the port, it takes around 20 to 25 days to reach that particular port. And in China, in Vietnam, the time frames are 2 days, 5 days. And this is nothing to do with infrastructure. This is a lot to do with bureaucracy and systems in place. So any initiative that can really help smoothen this process, expedite the time it takes to reach the port and then to the market, would really be a big help, because then from sending out 3 orders in a year, we can send out 6, 8 orders in a year. So this is something that I would request the esteemed authorities to look into. This is something that would be a really big help. For us, apart from that, I think, as I said, we have the capability to disrupt, we have the capability to be agile, we can move fast, but there are certain things that startups in India need to be really careful about. We don't want to end up like China. And I respect Deepakji's perspective that look at what is selling and make it cheaper, But that is what every country that is chasing money is doing and failing at a particular point. The moment you start innovating and thinking of the future and coming up with innovative ideas rather than feeding what is required by the market, we as startups we are defined by identifying what market might require, not what market needs. So there is one business approach where you create something cheaper and sell it. That is good for industries. That is what Hasbro, Mattel, something like Skillmatics even does. That they find something, they copy it, and they sell it cheaper. But startups by their nature need to be innovative, need to think 10 steps ahead and create what tomorrow's children would be needing. For us, we take a great amount of pride in not just making in India, but we make construction toys. So our vision is to make makers of India, the future makers of India. And that is what drives us, that we want to inspire kids to make things with hand. Because if you make something that is made up of 10 parts today, the next toy you make is of 50 parts, the next toy you make is of 400 parts, but in 10 years' time, you'll be confident enough that you are a maker. And then you will start thinking of manufacturing, you will start thinking of innovation as something that you can do. And that is the vision that is driving us at Smartivity. That is something that is being appreciated with countries that have maker culture, such as European countries where everyone knows some basic skill set, or US where labor is so expensive, you have to learn some skills. So for us, we look at startups as not just some institutions that are making in India, but we also need to inspire the next generation to be startups, next generation to be makers. And for that, we will need some help in these forms like easing of logistics, having access to funds, and platforms where we can showcase products as the basic requirements to be successful and carry on doing it well. With that, I just want to thank you all again for listening to me. And please, I'm eager to listen to what others have to say.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views. May I now request Ms. Nita Sarma from Sumi Toys to share your views.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Anju, Mr. Anil, and I have Gujarat for having us as a part of this panel discussion. So a little bit about what Shumi is and how our journey has started. So this started as a personal journey for me after moving back to India in 2012, being a mom of 2 boys at that point. When I came back to India, I was surprised to see the kind of toys available in the Indian market, which was totally flooded by made in China toys, plastic, a lot of bells and whistles. The play value of the products was not there. As a mom, I could not find a single brand of toy, including like even if you name Fun Schools or any of the world over here, which I could trust that would give me the right engagement for my boys to keep them engaged and develop at the same time. And being exposed to this in the US, I was pretty disappointed. And for me at that time, I was with IBM Research in the US, but working out of India. Every travel back to the US would always be with a motive of getting some toys back or some good play toys for them. So at that point, I started thinking, and being in Bangalore, that position helped me to understand that with the Chanpatna cluster here in Bangalore, the kind of handicrafts that were available. So it helped me understand what is the skill set available here in the Indian market and how can we do it. But at the same time, I also realized that if I want to do a high play value toys or bring innovation in the designs, so that skill is not readily available, or that design thinking has to be brought in. And that's where the journey started for us. And 2016 is when we had our first portfolio of toys. And when I started the journey, despite, I mean, that time it was not there was no big push for made in India manufacturing or anything. But it was very clear to me that my manufacturing has to be in India. Like I will work with manufacturers out of India, even if it means working with artisans on the smallest level to get it handmade, handcrafted. It was an uphill battle because toys inherently is a very price sensitive market. Like people like, and with the whole flood of made in China products available, you always ask the question that why is it priced like this? Why is it so expensive? I can get a cheaper toy at something. So the whole value people sometimes do not pay attention to. And that is one thing which I struggled. And then what I also realized that while I mean, the whole journey was also with this mind that whatever we will do at Shumi will be made in India, would be safe for the kids, using all the safe materials, natural materials. And at the same time, we would be a brand which will go global. So our vision is to be India's global toy brand. So, and with a vision of development and play for our little ones. So over there, to again adhere to the global standards, where again the global markets are very used to getting things from China, and with the manufacturing capabilities in China, with the machinery, everything, it becomes very difficult to manage your production costs in India. So like Mr. Deepak also mentioned initially, that how can startups go global or go penetrate into the global markets? So first thing which has to definitely be addressed, which I have personally also gone through, is the manufacturing capability in India. Because now, I mean, my manufacturers are with me for the last 4 years. We have been expanding our manufacturing base. But every time we hit a roadblock, and that is because of the manufacturing machinery or some know-how over here. And every time we realize that, okay, how does China do it and why can't we do it that way? Like, why can't we do it in a similar cost-effective manner and not lose what we want to do? Because our cost almost become very high when we want to do it the way, because the productivity is not as high when you don't have the right machineries. So that is a constant struggle that we face. And I hope with the initiative that Prime Minister Modi is pushing with the Atmanirbhar initiative that we have and the push towards toy market, this can definitely an area that we should be developing further, is the production capabilities and the know-hows with the production houses in India, so that it can help us, startups like us, to explore it more and get more and more innovative designs. Because for us, design is everything. We design in-house, we design with a certain philosophy in mind, and we design with a philosophy which is applicable across ages, within India, globally. So that's how we have been doing it. And also, I think one point which Mr. Tushar brought up was regarding how the investor attitude towards toy startups. And I totally agree with him, because it happens that startups in this domain are not, the favorites of the investors over here, because they are very used to high scale ups, or they're used to tech-based startups. So for them to understand this whole domain, and especially India being such an unbranded, fragmented market, they do raise this issue of like, how much market can you capture? And would anyone even want to buy toys over here? Why will they not just go for something cheaper? Because those questions doesn't make us startup friendly. And so there also, if we are looking to push India as a toy manufacturing hub, or we want brands to come out of India, then we also need some mechanism to support startups over here, startups which are doing the innovative ideas, and they're looking at different ways. Because again, like personally, I see a lot of scope from India, because we have a lot of our design capabilities are high, our thinking capability is there. So we just need this right support. And I think that will help us, because we started our journey in India. We are now also in 4 different countries through Amazon. We have been taking the Amazon route to explore the global markets, where we see that even in US on Amazon, with it being such a crowded market for toys, we have been able to make a mark, because some of our products are very innovative. The materials that we use are high quality. The design is high quality. So we can see that the acceptance of those products is increasing for us in the last 1.5 years that we have been in the US. And I definitely think that if we can get all this support in different ways, then it helps us to be at better price points. It helps us to push it further. If we can get marketing, if those things can be eased out, definitely there's a high support for that. And I think there was one of the points in the discussion also, that on how can toy startups work with the already available artisans' knowledge over here. So I think we are one of the examples where we have worked with the artisans primarily, and we have trained them to work with more a modern look. So our products, though, are done using most of the traditional handicraft know-hows, but it comes with a very, very modern look, which would be done in a whole factory setup in China or anywhere else in the world. But our artisans have worked with us wonderfully. They had the keenness to even understand how can they make different changes, what are the different materials, the different woods, the paints. Because for us also, when we worked, the paints was a very important part of our journey, where we wanted the paints to be non-toxic, lead-free, very safe. So I saw that, like, in the initial parts of my journey, there was a lot of visits that we had to different clusters to understand this, and there was a lot of willingness for them to do. Where even last month, from the Karnataka government, we were approached to see how we can help develop their different clusters. One is the Channapatna cluster that we have actively worked with, but there are other clusters in Karnataka, and we had an initial discussion to see. So also, I think for us startups to explore all these clusters, there should be another way for us to discover them. Because it started for me as being in Bangalore, close to one cluster. That was the easiest way for me to go about. But for us, so like again, I was not in a design background. I had no way of knowing many of the things, but it was just a random cold cause. So I think if we want this to become a stronger initiative, there should be a little bit of more direction available for when anyone wants to come into this field. That, okay, these are the manufacturing factories or the manufacturing units, these are their capabilities, this is what they can do, or even these are the clusters or the artisans who work on this kind of technique. So that helps the startups also to get an idea. Because we started as a startup base or focused on wood. So for us, again, like being in Bangalore, close to a wooden hub, we were able to start on what we started with. But as we started, we also knew that we want to work with other natural materials. For us to know where are the manufacturers who can do good quality cotton products or good quality paper products. So that was all for us, like random cold calls, Google search, finding things. So, but if there's any association that can help startups get all this, so it makes it a little bit easier and more scalable. That is what I would suggest again over here, if that can be looked into. And these were some of the things that I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Thank you, Meeta. Thank you. This has been very insightful. When I was listening to you, I was just looking at some of the toys that you've done on the net, on your website, and it's really very good. And this is the kind of this is actually what we need. This is what probably Inu is also doing. You go out to the artisans there, and then develop all our traditional crafts into modern toys for our children. So that's something, that is what is the direction that we want to take. I would now request Inu to, let us know about her journey. Meeta, some of the points that you've made are very valid. I'll come back to you on how we could create an ecosystem where, we could connect the startups along with the manufacturers and, a common meeting. We will talk about that.
Thank you so much, Meeta. I think I resonate a lot with a lot of things that you spoke about. And, thank you so much for having me over here. Anju ma'am, Anil Agarwal sir. We've been fortunate enough to exchange a few messages with Anil Agarwal sir in terms of the kind of work that we are doing, and just to get his attention to it. And he has been extremely obliging in giving us a patient hearing. So thank you so much, sir, for that. I think, just a very good continuation from where Meeta, left her talk. I think there's one thing that we constantly keep thinking about is that, Mickey Mouse, Iron Man, Batman, Marvel heroes, these are the names that you hear most of the children today talk about when you ask them, what's your favorite character, or what toy do you want for your birthday, or what are you watching today, right? And, we believe that these names need to be replaced with India's homegrown characters, such as a Bal Hanuman, like a Chota Bheem, and many more, millions and millions of these characters that can come out of each art form that is present in India. So our thinking is that, each art form in India, be it a Madhubani, be it a Kalamkari, be it Ajrak from Gujarat, has the potential to become a global franchise, like a Mickey Mouse, a Donald Duck, or an Iron Man. And, with India's rich cultural diversity, with 50,000 art forms across the country, which with 200 million artisans, I believe that there is only an upside and there is only a massive opportunity for India to take over the world and make India's homegrown characters a household name. And when we talk about these characters becoming a household name, we want it to be an integrated experience like a Disney. It needs to have merchandise, it needs to have products, it needs to have learnings, it needs to have experiences, it needs to have destinations that when the world comes back to normal, children can go to and actually play with these toys, play and engage with these amusement parks which are inspired by the heritage of India and the art forms of India. And with all of this, we believe that India's artisan ecosystem is most well positioned to create a mark in the global market. And, like Meeta was saying, Zwende is an online marketplace. So we are not a brand. We are a marketplace where brands come in and they get a global platform to sell their products. So we are an online platform for experiences and products which are being handcrafted by makers all over India. We aggregate a very, very fragmented market, which is, by the way, full of makers who have unlimited creativity but are limited in their resources. And every gully, every nukkad, every household in any village that you go to, and Meeta will be able to relate to that. Channapatna is just one of those examples. Any village, every household is full of this creativity, but these artisans have limited resources. So when we think about what Zwende needs to be, we've taken into account what we say the strength of the maker, which is unlimited creativity, and try to cover their limitations of limited resources or capital, and try to come up with a platform that truly helps them get access to a global market. So there are two main points that I would like to make here in terms of how we believe Zwende is different, and we would like to create a differentiation in the market. First is for products and experiences to coexist. So to give you an example, each art form in India has been inspired by storytelling. So if you think about the Tolu Bomalata art form, which comes from Andhra Pradesh, that art form takes its genesis from 2,500-year-old puppet shows, which was the primary form of storytelling for these villagers. Late into the night, these guys used to have handmade, hand-painted puppets, which used to narrate the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Now, with technology advancements, with products and experiences coexisting on Zwende, we are able to take these puppet shows online, which means that we have artisans who are 70 years old, 80 years old, who've been practicing these art forms for 50 plus years, are now able to deliver and showcase these live puppet shows streaming from their villages to users, to consumers across the world. So that's just one example. Each village has millions of such artisans waiting to showcase their creativity, tell the stories of yesteryear's puppet shows, narrate these stories, and let every child in the world, be it anywhere in the world, connect with the authenticity and the culture of India. That's one way in which experiences and products can coexist. The second way in which they can coexist is, let's say, DIY kits. We've been big consumers of Smartivity kits. Great gifts to give to all our friends, to our family, to nephews, nieces, everybody. And what is great about a Smartivity kit is the fact that children can do something with it. It is not just a toy that you play with, but it's something that really, taps into different kinds of skills of a child. Now, we are working with makers all over the country who can actually take, let's say, the art of block printing and create storybooks out of it, where children are now, instead of stamping with Chinese-made stamps, they're actually creating stories and stamping with block print, which has been traditionally carved on wood. Now, this has enormous potential again for products and experiences to coexist. When there is a DIY kit that is shipped out, there is also an online session where the child can be taught what is the history of this art form, how can you really narrate a story using it, and also let them upload stuff that they have created with these block printed DIY kits, right? So, and when we conduct these workshops online, we actually see that people are choosing to not watch a show on Netflix, but actually come and participate in this online session with Zwende, where a mother and a daughter are actually indulging in this craft together. So when we think about toys, we have to think about entertainment and learning coming together. We have built a technology platform where products and experiences come together. And we believe that has enormous potential to deliver a very, very immersive experience. The second point that I would like to bring out is along the lines of customization and personalization. The minute you have toys that a child can relate to, the minute you have toys that is aligned with the theme of their favorites, the adoption is automatically going to be higher. So at Zwende, we are a platform that is focused on customization and personalization. So if you want a toy in your color of choice, if you want a toy that is inspired by your favorite avatar, we make that happen. And the way we make that happen is we empower thousands of creators on our platform with a digital virtual SKU model, which means that because these artisans have unlimited creativity, but their resources are limited, they are unable to predict how many of each product to make and keep in stock. And the fear of unsold inventory actually comes in the way of them unleashing their creativity and bringing all their ideas to life. So what Zwende does is we work very closely with all the people who are listed on our marketplace to actually modularize and then digitize all possible combinations that they could make. So let's say if I have one nephew who is really fascinated by space, then the characters he would like in his toy are astronauts. But then if I have another nephew who is extremely fond of animals, then he is definitely looking for a jungle themed toy. Now, if I go to a Channapatna artisan and I say that, can you bring all these ideas to life? His question is, madam, kitne pieces mein kitna banana? Kitna variety hai? How do I bring it to life? But inventory nahi bikega, so what do I do? So what Zwende does is, Zwende digitizes all SKUs, all possible combinations, and makes it available on the website. Only when an order comes in is the artisan actually making this to order. As an end consumer, I have all the choice that I want. As an artisan or a designer, I have brought all my ideas to life. My working capital is not stuck in inventory, and I'm able to give people what they want. So we believe that the future of handcrafted, the future of Indian art forms is to unleash this creativity and give people customized and personalized products and experiences. And we believe that each art form in India, like I started, a Madhubani, a Kalamkari, an Ajrak, a Tolu Pomalata, has the potential to become much larger than an Iron Man or a Batman or a Mickey Mouse. And that's the vision that we have at Zwende. So, given that we are talking about how the government can help or what are the challenges that we face, I think given that we are a marketplace model, the rules around operating an online marketplace are extremely stringent in India, right from the kind of funds we can get to the tax compliances, etc. Now, when we want to aggregate artisans, makers, designers, who could also be urban women sitting in, Bangalore, Chennai, for them to get a GST registration, then start their business becomes very complicated. But as a marketplace, for us to onboard non-GST registered suppliers is not possible. So that leads to accounting nightmares, that leads to really only identifying people, not by their capability, but by whether they are GST registered or not. So I think some understanding, some relaxation of norms for marketplaces to operate in a very fragmented industry. When we think about a Flipkart or an Amazon, they are massive, they are big, they can comply with all of that. But as a marketplace that is thinking of discovering, identifying, nurturing the next 5,000 brands that can become big, the next 5,000 Shumis, the next 5,000 Smartivities, that is what Zwende wishes to discover. But if there are very strict tax compliant rules, I think that comes in the way of development of marketplaces. But all said and done, the potential in India has massive opportunity that we can tap into.
Thank you. I think this has been a wonderful discussion, and you've made out some very good points. And let me promise all of you who are here in this discussion today that you have a lot of things coming up for you. Okay. So now may I request Sandeep from Creative.
Very good evening, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me well.
Yes. Okay, please carry.
Great. So let me start by thanking shareholders from the Education Department, Gujarat, the team at iHub, Anil Agarwalji from DPIIT, and my esteemed panelists, and all of you guys who I heard that students are joining us from various colleges today. They're watching us live, so welcome you all. It's been great to hear. The panelists, and it seems like a family of hustlers here, like hustling very hard to. And I think it is. I mean, business or startup or starting up has been a hustle. More than a hustle, it has been an excitement. It has been a very, I don't know, it has been a very painful but very enjoyable journey that I have had. I mean, I come from a design background, and I've been educating children, and that's where I found that that there's a huge gap in the way we teach children and what they absorb. I could see that the retention was not there. Children were not funny enough. I mean, even the humor that they had was very strange. I don't know, it kind of dented me inside. I used to think that what is happening in my childhood when I had a toy. I used to just open it up, being very curious, and used to find this motor in it, and used to connect a cardboard over it and connect it to a battery and be very happy. I made something, and I saw that was missing. If you guys will connect to it, I think if if the parent used to get a tube light or a bulb, you would be excited and jump to take that tube light and fix it yourself. I come from that age group. But if you tell a child today that baby, can you fix this bulb, or can you maybe that is broken, can you just fix that? They won't respond, and then give you this strange look that what have you asked? I mean, I can't do that. I'm not made for that. So be creative with an 8. Started with the idea that we wanted to make makers, inventors, and we wanted to make this play thing very constructive for child. We just didn't want them to feel that just sitting there watching TV is play. It isn't play. It isn't constructive. I don't think so. I think that we wanted to make something that's multi-medium, and somehow can impact the child's behavior and make the child a maker, a true maker. And that's why we started Be Creative, a workshop company. Now, basically, this started as a workshop experiment. We wanted to give workshops in schools and kind of encourage children to come along and learn these skills. Very soon, we figured out that it's not easy as it sounds, because schools are like country borders. If you try to enter a school, I mean, good luck, but it's super hard. It's super hard to get into schools and negotiate with those people, because like you had a good feeling, you wanted to educate a child, but here sits a principal or maybe a school member who has vested interests, and you certainly get shocked, because that's not the experience you have or the intention. So gradually we understood that we have to be direct to customer. These classes that we want have to be packed in boxes. And one more thing, which was, I mean, Tushar said that I had that stupidity. I mean, even I entered that manufacturing setup, that I thought that I'll manufacture and I'll ship it. So I found that children had variety of interests. They didn't just want to fix motors, but they also wanted to do art. Some of them also wanted to do storytelling. Some of them had interest in science. So we were kind of the first ones in the country to introduce STEAM-based kits, wherein we kind of started, packaging them, kittifying them, and that's what we call, getting things together and packing in a box, and then packing them as a classroom that reaches the child. It started with few products in electronics. Very soon got into a full stream of toys in science, electronics, junk jugaad, robotics, coding, and a lot of these things, because we found that children were loving these toys and they wanted more, and then we wanted to get more children to learn such skills. We have learned over the last 4-5 years that because we were like, come on, I mean, for a person who's been in a corporate job, I mean, a design background, it is a far-fetched idea that I'll get into entrepreneurship or do anything like that. And then I don't come from an engineering background. I basically come from design and animation. So for me to think robotics was a very hard job, because I used to think that robotics कैसे करेंगे यार, हमने तो कभी robotics किया ही नहीं है. But the idea of making, the idea of creative, making children inventive was integral to us. It was something that kind of was in our hearts, and we just wanted to follow our passion with all the core team members who were creators and innovators. We have been working tirelessly to make these products and pivoting all the time to make sure that we get children to engage well. Now, I heard Deepak ji and Tushar, and I could actually see the way that this market is today, and the way that I see it. It is very rightly said by Tushar that we are those people who don't know the rules or never knew the rules. So we were in a kind of a territory wherein we could actually experiment, fail, and do anything without being shown to the world. There was no insult. So it was amazing. You go one day, you make something and you fail. It's heartbreaking, but nobody is looking at you. And then you get up again at the next day, and then you start working again, pivot yourself. Okay, this is not the place it is going to work. Let's turn a little bit on the right and start working on this direction. And then you kind of sometimes get it right. With the economy and the way the consumer behaves, I mean, that all is evolving. With COVID also, people ask me that COVID must have been very hard on you. I tell them that it's not COVID, man. You just looked at me right now. It's been hard for the last 5 years, but it's been yeah. I mean, COVID is very hard, but thanks for noticing that it's hard for me. It has been hard for a very long time. Raising funds, as mentioned by other panelists, has been a pain. In fact, after a certain point, I actually stopped looking at it. I thought, and I suggest all the students who are joining us today, that guys, making a product is not enough. Think always of making an economic engine that can scale. Always remember that it's not only a product that is going to go out and sell. It has all its economics, logistics, and manufacturing and bulk manufacturing, and then allocation of, everything, finding vendors. Like I heard Meeta, and I feel that, it makes, you can't even see my tears now, they're dried up. I'm telling you, it was so hard for me initially to find out vendors. How do I find a list of vendors who does this? How do I find a person who does this? Now, one great thing, so it's not all bad, it's kind of magical, because what we did was that after a bit, I thought that why don't we involve some college students? We went to random colleges. Trust me, no IITs, no special colleges, the colleges that are within 10 kilometers of the office. We went there and we found some people to join us and work with us on some of the products that we were working back then. I am truly surprised, inspired. I don't know what I should say, but these students have been, I mean, what are they waiting for? They are absolutely amazing. The students today are having so much potential in them, just that I think they don't have the right guidance. They don't know where they're heading. They're always confused. And this idea and stereotypical approach of who's going to select me, which IT-based company will hire me, and what package and all that, a kind of these things that are stopping innovation to happen. I also understand that if we, I mean, because I had heard there's a kind of a thing that something like mind to market initiative that Anjuji was talking about. If there is a mind to market initiative, we will certainly be like to part of it, wherein if there are any students, anyone who has an idea, wants to build it and wants to get it to market, we will be more than happy to associate and work with them. Even today, with the even Inu was saying, and we connect with her on this, that we have been looking for innovators all around. And this is, in fact, whenever we have started looking for innovators, it has not been a very long journey, because you start and a person is innovating just, on the corner of the road, and then you get surprised. Oh my God, this guy is making this. So, and then you figure out that what is wrong. I mean, why is he not? Why is he in a bad state? Yeah.
Sandeep,
I will,
Sandeep,
sir.
please wrap up.
I will, sir.
Please wrap up.
Yeah,
We need
sir,
to
sure.
stop at
Sir,
5:30.
it takes time, I'll wrap up.
I know, but then you have
Sure,
only 10
sir.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, we are mesmerized rightly,
Just
but
give me 2
please.
minutes. Yeah. So with that, I will like to wrap up by saying that as much as starting up is fun, uh, and it is, inspiring when you see all of us here, sitting here and talking to you, all decked up, nice, lit up. I want to tell you there's a lot of hustle that goes into making these things possible, and be patient and uh, adopt this hustler attitude. And I think that India is a shining market, and you are rightly timed if you start right now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, may I now request Manish?
Yes.
Yeah, please. So you have 10 minutes. Please finish by 5:20,
I will
5:22.
finish
Give finish in time.
because already everything is told by Sandeep. In fact, it was my story he was telling. So, good evening to everyone. Thank you, Anju ma'am, and thank you, Agarwal sir, and everybody. Sir, Technibird's journey is also the same what has been shared by others. Basically, we are also making STEM toys. In fact, journey started like I as a science communicator with Department of Science and Technology. I was teaching to the kids, to the different kids through the making these models and through toys. Then I thought this is the best way of telling this thing. Why not? We should start something, making at our own. So this is how the birth of Technibirds took place, and we have right now more than 60 products in our, and though commercially it's we cannot claim a very big success, but still we have a very wonderful product which tells about the few scientific principles and basic fundamental things which can be told very the story can be in the storytelling way, because it creates some kind of a anchoring to the kid. It goes into the different topics, if you can check it. So since journey was very, like Sandeep told, that it was hustle bustle, still we are struggling a lot, and we are available with the Amazon, Flipkart and other marketplaces. So, sir, what innovation is one thing what we are trying to do continuously, but innovation has to do, if the students are listening, I want to tell that the innovation is not in the products only. It should go hand in hand with the other processes also. Innovation, generally, innovation is associated with the product design, but that the process, the innovative process in the marketing, materials and everything, like Meeta told and Indu has told, everything has to go hand in hand, then you can make a commercially viable product. So one thing I want to tell very quickly, sir, since if you look at the industry, you all know that the Indian traditional toys are dominating the industry. But if the future trends, as somebody told, that if you look for the futuristic toy, the STEM toys and the STEAM toy, or if you talk about the more futuristic, where you talk about the connected toys, where AI, VR, ML and all things come. And there are a few companies in the India which have tried this thing, but they could not create the product which was supporting, the price of the product was not supported by the market. The problem is that there was a machine and the tooling cost is so high, and still the Indian market is so minuscule. Until and unless you think of exporting it, you cannot justify that price point. So this is one thing. So this is one hindrance in front of major startups, and somehow how that machine thing can be bring in, like how can we do the efficient machining? So what I can think that since it is a capital intensive, majority of the toy industry is having a very small unit. We are also not a very big. So why not the government is coming with some hiring hub of machining hiring hub, where the startup can hire a machine for 1 year or 2 year, and he can pay the rentals and the insurance cost of it. So if the government is coming with this model, so it is really going far too long. And it, believe me, we have also received some money from UP government as well as the seed money from IIM Lucknow. But this kind of handholding is required, sir. If you create this kind of hub, so if he is experimenting for 1 year and returning back that machine to the person, if he is failed, then also he will return. If he has qualified to the certain level, he'll purchase his own machine. So this is how what you are trying. You are enabling him to reiterate with the competition. Otherwise, he cannot. And one more thing, in the toy business, the machineries are not fixed. There is no standard machinery like you are making some standard product. There are many n number of things are coming. So the person, if the government, a central point is there, he can or she can take the machinery from there for 6 months or 1 year on hiring basis. It can really make a huge difference instead of giving the some grant basis. So this is one thing I wanted to share, Agrawal sir and Anju ma'am. And sir, investor, anyway, Sandeep has told, Tushar has told, even I have also given several pitches and it was of no use because they were looking for the many X return, which is not possible into the production, is not possible. So this is best that if the government giving us a little this kind of support, that marketing support. Marketing is somehow is little democratized due to this online thing. Now you can at least put them ad with the brand that if you can pay a little more for the 10 days, so you can show your product. So this is what I wanted to tell you, that co-creation is one thing. Definitely there is a co-creation. If the students are listening, then a co-creation is one thing. We can create an ecosystem, like take an example of a PUBG, which has recently banned. It was fairly popular among the kids, and but see, the PUBG is one thing. The people are saying that this thing, virtual gaming will kill the physical toys. No, it is never going to happen, because the physical manipulation or the physical toys gives you the feeling of sense of originality and feel of touch and feel sense it gives. So it will never go away. So what I was telling, that PUBG has created a stir. So what happened? There was a physical replica of metallic PUBG gun. It came to the market. So if you co-create something with that particular thing, you can definitely come with this kind of product. This kind of approach also work pretty fine with this thing. Either you work with some kind of a big person, a big company, where you are associating your product with his product, or you are creating a small little a gaming platform where your physical product can fit. This is what I want to tell you, sir. This is what this is all our journey about.
So,
Okay.
before
Thank you.
you speak, let me just ask one question, since all these exciting startups are here and all these vibrant young men and women are here.
Yes.
My question is slightly embarrass you, but this is a very, very pertinent question that is in my mind. And I have two young boys in my house. Is that why PUBG cannot be created here in India? And why does it happen that something like PUBG takes over the entire Indian market and we are not able to control it through competition? Why could we not ever? PUBG took over entire Indian market. Every single young boy, every single young man, old man, women, they were playing PUBG. And we were just watching, and we all you young boys and girls allowed it to go into the hands of the Chinese market. Why does that happen? And when are we going to awaken to the fact that we cannot allow a foreign product like this? Our Indian minds are the smartest and the best. Then why do we allow these kind of foreign products to capture our Indian market? And they did not do it in a day. They do it over a period of 3 to 4 years. Could we not create something better, market it better, and hand it over to our youth? So that's a question. If any of you can answer and could work on that line, that we should awaken at the right moment, offer a right answer to that, because you cannot create boundaries in the virtual world. Eventually, it has to be all open. The only boundary that will come and the only way we are going to beat competition is by proving superior. And we can prove superior when we can provide a hammering jolt to them. My product is superior, it will be, the entire thing will be weeded out. So that's my question. Anyway.
Will I take a couple of minutes now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So primarily, ma'am, one of the things that is again a conflicting issue here that we are discussing is we are looking at sending our products internationally. And at the same time, we are saying that international products should not come to India. That's a very conflicting demand in itself. That's one thing that we need to consider, that we either take a closed border approach or we say that we want to also exploit the global market that is there. Second thing is the phenomenon with PUBG is also a social phenomenon, and it's also a cultural phenomenon, and both of these are not the strengths that we as a government or as a society are focused on. We have very different concerns when products are built in India. Typically what I've observed is save cost, make the maximum margins, and what we call chip cow products to customers. We are not focused on quality as a society. That's the truth, that we actually don't respect ourselves enough to create something that is really good enough. So nothing is created for Indian markets. If you tell them that something is going to be bought by some international buyer, we are very meticulous and particular about quality. For our own audience, we don't have respect. Social element is that unless there are 100 people in your network who are using that particular product, you will not be going on to it. So if the quality is good, 100 people will come. If 100 people are there, 1 million people will come.
Yes.
But the bottom line is that we need to, as a society, start focusing on quality rather than saving money or making money, which is what is happening across toy industry. Otherwise, whatever you said in the beginning, 80% of the toy industry is imported, is because we do not value our kids enough to find them non-toxic products. We do not value our kids enough to see educational value or learning value, as you said. And we are forever looking at the cheapest possible option. And unless that changes, I don't think we will be able to come up with a product that actually respects our kids. And as a toy industry worker, that is one thing that drives me every day. That I respect my children, I respect the kids in this society, and I will not compromise with quality on the whether it's safety, whether it is certification, whether it's innovativeness. And on all these factors, as a society, we do not incentivize this. For me, IP in India is fine, but my product to be sold in the US, I need IP in US. I have no protection for it. It's very expensive. There's no help from any society organization that makes it easy. Why should I be innovative? So these are the factors that come into the mind when you say that why don't we have something that is so good a product? We are a service country right now, and we took a great pride in being a service country, but that needs to change. We need to be making society. As both Sandeep and Manish said, unless next generation takes up making, we will not get good products of this country.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have very strong feelings on this because I give
rightly said.
Yeah. So let me just tell everyone who's joined today as to what Government of India has been doing on this toy story. You know, this started about almost December last year, when we realized that 80% of our market of toys is captured by China. Then a mystery shopping was done, and then we did a survey of the toys that are available in the market, and you will be surprised to find know that 2/3 of the toys that were surveyed were found to be unsafe for children. Some were found to be unsafe in terms of electrical, mechanical properties. Some were, found to be unsafe in terms of their composition. So they had toxic elements. They could not be taken in mouth by children. And some were unsafe because of their physical characteristics and chemical characteristics. So now what do? We said, okay, now we have some standards. We have some standards of toys. So we said, okay, all the shipment of toys that are coming into the country have to be compulsorily inspected. Each and every consignment will be inspected, tested for quality. Unless they are safe, they will not be permitted inside the country. So this is what we did. Then in the budget last year, we increased the import duty on toys from 20% to 60%. Now that's a huge thing. So you understand, the kind of seriousness that Government of India has taken with this issue. Over a period of time, then we have also promulgated what is called as a quality control order for toys. So now whole lot of foreign manufacturers are supposed to be complying with it. All imports have to comply with it. All domestic manufacturers have to comply with it. And then that order comes into force on 1st of January 2021. So when that order comes into force, no toys which is not safe as per the standards can be sold into the market. So these are some of the things that we've done. Now, this is the background. Now, after that, you've heard, our Minister for Textiles she's very passionate about toys. She's also in charge of women and child development. She also has a portfolio of textiles with her. She made a very detailed presentation before the Honorable Prime Minister and a group of ministers. There was a number of points, and then finally we were given the responsibility, because DPIIT as industry, toy industry falls in our domain. Startup India also falls in our domain. And I have the confluence of both these two domains, which are very, very separate. So one is startups, the other is toy as an industry. So that is what the two things converge at me at the Government of India level. So then, we were given the responsibility of, all the ideas that had come during PM's Mann Ki Baat and the discussions during presentations and everywhere else, everybody, whatever ideas that they gave, we were asked to develop a national action plan for toys. Now we have a national action plan for toys, which spans across 18 ministries of the Government of India. 18 ministries. And let me I don't have the time to get into the details of each and every one of them. Let me just indicate, what are the things that are doing. Number one, it starts with toys should be used as a learning resource. Toys should be used as a learning resource. Now they are getting into our national curriculum framework. So now 23-24 onwards, you will have our children using toys as part of their curriculum, right from school. Preschool, school, and middle school. So this is what is going to happen. Second, we are saying design toys based on Indian values, Indian culture, Indian ethos. So Panchatantra stories, Amar Chitra Khatas, yoga, everything that is our own, that is what is to be inculcated. Now the Department of Higher Education is working on how to design toys based on our own history, values, culture, yoga, fitness, all these things. Next is, we are also going to have hackathons for designing of toys based on all this. So all this must be, you are all going to be participating in all those hackathons, which we are going to be doing. Then, one of the major area is how we can promote domestically manufactured toys in the country. And how can our schools procure toys that are manufactured domestically. All this is for you, those who are manufacturing toys within India. We are now promoting all the domestic manufacturers to come over the government e-marketplace. If you need any hand-holding, we will provide you hand-holding for coming over as a startup on the government e-marketplace. You have a startup runway on the government e-marketplace. And if you create toys, we are going to create toys as a special sector on government e-marketplace. So you can sell everything that you are selling outside here on government e-marketplace. all the schools, government schools, Anganwadis are going to be purchasing all those toys, and they don't have to go through the tenders. We are looking at, cultural specific toys which can be used in rural areas, in Anganwadis for rural children. And there, we are looking at, again, innovators which are designing those toys. Now, the next thing that we have is, we are looking at creating toy repositories. Now, we have a whole lot of toys here and there. Can we have an entire database of the toys which have come out of India? So, the Ministry of Culture is doing, a toy museum. There is a cultural repository that is being done. The idea is, can we have a toy, as Inu said, a complete experience with a toy? So, can the toy have a QR code or some identification where, the child can go online and look at its history, culture, its context, everything? Is it possible? Now, the kind of toys that Meeta is developing from the artisans, can we have those kind of information associated with those toys so that they can be made a little more meaningful, right? We have so many GIs relating to artifacts and handicrafts across the country. There are about 20-21, centers where there are GI tags associated with special handicrafts. Can we have toys coming out of those, like Zwende is doing, or like Meeta is doing? You are doing with one cluster. Can we do it with other clusters? This is an open invitation to you to come up and, develop similar things for others. We are opening up market for you. What government now is doing by all this is like doing market development for domestically produced toys, domestically designed and produced toys. Like, in the session today, Honorable Education Minister from Gujarat, he said, when the kite festival started in Gujarat, the turnover of kites industry went off from 30 crores to 300 crores in 4 years. We are looking at similar thing happening for the toys industry when toys is taken up as a national program, right? Now, what I can offer you immediately is, we have a Startup India platform. We have a showcase, Startup India showcase. Now, I have just asked my team to create a special category for toys, and all the startups who are working on developing toys can immediately, come on board. We will be showcasing your products on Startup India showcase. So, investors and other manufacturers can find you out. Secondly, I said on GEM platform, you can use the Startup India runway to sell your toys to government bodies. They are huge markets. And if you say that, you can give toys which are contextual, which are based on our history, culture, government schools, NCERT, everyone is going to buy those toys. Now, we are also planning a national toy fair. It's going to be a virtual affair. It's likely to be planned around January. We are, the current thinking is that it will be planned, in around the 26th of January. We are just planning all those things, and we are going to be supporting all of you, set up your booths and everything. We are going to be sponsoring everything. So I invite all the innovators, all the startups who are working in those fields to let us know, and we will onboard you on the toy fair. I would positively like to have some puppet shows, and as Inu said, by some artisans there in that, and for a online experience during that. We would like to have more ideas on how we could have online shows, and all these schools of the entire country are going to be your audience. So that is the kind of market that we are going to be giving to you. I have had some very good ideas which have come up from all the startups who have reflected. I have noted so many of them. One of them has been, how to add artisans on the e-commerce platform without GST registrations. I think this is a very, very important aspect. I will positively take it up. There are whole lot of other issues that I can't answer right now because of paucity of time. We have already short our time this thing. But it has been a very, very interesting, very, very learning and educating 1.5 hours for me. And I promise that from the government of India level, we will be doing everything that we could be doing for supporting all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everything that you are doing. Thank you.
Before we end the session, let me propose a formal vote of thanks on behalf of iHub and the Startup India team, DPIIT, and all the organizers here. This session has marked the pinnacle of today's event. The National Toy Innovation Meet was supposed to be a galvanizing force for toy and gather the attention of the entire country, the startups, innovators, academia, industry, everyone. And I think we have so far succeeded in the mission. And the excellent summing up that Anil Agarwal sir has given, moving from Man Ki Baat to Dande Ki Baat, he has come to hit the nail hard on its head. And there were certain concerns which are expressed about support being provided by the government. If a joint secretary is straight away giving you decisions, I think this cannot be more speedier than this. This could be sort of governance at the speed of light. I mean to say that. And with this, I would like to extend a very warm thanks to DPIIT, all the dignitaries who are present today in the morning, Mahapatra sir, our Honorable Minister, Chief Minister, and all that, and especially for this session, which has been led enthusiastically by Joint Secretary Anil Agarwal sir, and inspiring thoughts and insights by Anju Sharma madam. And we all empathize with your feelings, and in fact we hoot for you. We are trying from our platforms and our boundaries and limitations to do our best to not just help the startups, not just in toy, but to help all the aspiring entrepreneurs in this country through Startup India movement. And toy is one more platform that we have got, which is impacting not just as an industry, but it is a culture, it is affecting our nationalism and everything. It's going to build a better generation. It promises to provide a new generation of people who will be better understanding our ethos, values, and also makes a business sense out of it. I thank you all for joining today and sharing your views very candidly. We welcome and we look forward to interacting with you all further on similar such platforms. And Gujarat has taken this step in association with DPIIT to certainly make a good start of this toy innovation. And I am glad to share that this has made a very great impact. Thank you all for joining us today. Everyone from the morning to the evening who have joined us. And special thanks to Anil Agarwal sir for his constant guidance and support, and Chairperson iHub, Madam Anju Sharma, for her inspiration and also tactical and strategic guidance for all of us to execute this event. I want to especially thank all the behind the scene members of iHub who have been constantly running across rooms and physical rooms and virtual rooms to make this event possible. I really want to give a very special thanks to them and a pat on the back for the team, which is ably led by CEO Mr. Hiranmay Manta. He is playing across all fronts. Thank you all, everyone, for joining us today, and let us keep working on this together. Thank you so much, and we will conclude this session here today.
Thank you.